Good morning, my friends. You will love today's podcast, okay? It's going to be all about getting your cup that you think is full a little bit empty so that a little bit more can go into it. You see, I was just telling you guys before we went live, my husband has a project, and it is so important to have a project. Because if you don't have a project, what ends up happening, and that's what I said to Jean-Philippe and Sylvain, you're going to overeat. If you don't have a project, if you like drinking once in a while, you're probably going to increase the drinking. If you like watching series or stuff like that, what happens, Melanie? You're gonna overindulge. If you enjoy scrolling, you're gonna overindulge. So that is because I'm not covering that in the podcast, but talking with Sylvain and Jean-Philippe, I said, when you see people putting on weight, and you
Mhm.
say, what's happening? They're out of a project. They're
And,
out of a project.
and I remember, Maria, that when my dad was getting older and he was starting to sort of like do silly things, I said, "You need a project, get a project." And so that's what he did. He started renovating some of the rooms in his house, and he was a different person.
Yeah, exactly, Melanie. If you become usually when you don't have projects and you're not doing what this podcast is going to tell you to do, are you still teachable? Are you still learning? You also become more angry faster.
Yeah.
Like everything gets you under your skin. So I'm telling you guys, you're going to want to share this podcast this morning because it will be transformational. And in their words, it says insufficient education, instead become a lifelong learner. But I would add there, if I was ad lib today, I would definitely add there, get into a project. You need a project. I don't care what it is. You need a project because life is long when there's no projects. Like, oh, Melanie, I'm telling you. So before I dive in, we're going to go to you, Marie-Pierre, because I really believe that we need to share this with a lot of people that are not learning and that have no projects. And basically, in French, I use the expression, c'est des morts vivants, the living dead. There's movies out there, the living dead. Well, a living dead is somebody that's no longer learning and somebody that has no project. They're the living dead. It's not fun rubbing shoulders with a living dead, okay? So share, share, share. Marie-Pierre, over to you.
Okay, so let's start to share. So you will find the arrow just beside where you write your comment, so you can share everywhere, and you have the text in the comment that you can copy paste, so people understand why they should listen to the podcast this morning. But of course, when you have someone in mind, send it directly by messenger, send it by text message. Those one-on-one is the best way to make sure that they will listen to the podcast this morning. And then we have our contest, Les Millionnaires des Diamants. So first, when you go on our Facebook group, Les Millionnaires des Diamants Inspirational Group, every time you post, every time you react, every time you comment on the group, you gain points during the month to be in the top 10 contributor. And at the end of the month, the official top 10 will get a voucher to go shop on the boutique Les Millionnaires des Diamants. And today we have the top 10 month to date. So number 10, we have Nadia Bonham. Number 9, Sherry Novak. Number 8, the page Chill Vibe. Number 7, Nathalie Brochu. Number 6, the page Be Encouraged. Number 5, the page Echo of Hope. Number 4, Kendra Fingersoul. Number 3, Lise Boucher. Number 2, Louise Gauthier. And number 1, Martin Noël. So congratulations to our top 10 month to date. You have until the end of the month to be in the official top 10. And then we have a draw at the end of each month. So to be in the draw, there's two ways. First, with the Boutique Millionnaires des Diamants. So you place your order or you receive your order. Make sure that you take a picture and you post on social media and you tag the page Millionnaires des Diamants. And the second way, with same thing, but with the books Millionnaires des Diamants. So you receive another book, you're reading one of the book, or you're doing one of the quiz book, you're using your agenda Millionnaires des Diamants. Take a picture and post on social media and tag the page Les Millionnaires des Diamants to be in the draw at the end of the month. And if you don't have already your ticket for the next conference, it's time to go to click on the link and get your ticket to be with us in November for our conference. It's a virtual conference, so you can join us from all around the world. Voila.
I love it. I love it. So we're going to dive in right away. Okay. So I'm going to start with something I wish every young person would know. And every 62-year-old or Melanie Miller, 67-year-old. I don't care how old you are, okay? We are taught go to school, get an education, and then go to work, right? I don't believe that anymore. And it's been years and years. I don't believe that. School may end, but one thing is for sure, because of um, my trajectory, this is why I'm so convinced about what I'm sharing with you right now. Education must never be an end. Like, I'm watching Melanie Miller with a doctorate's degree, and she just keeps going and going and going and pushing herself physically. She just did a marathon, pushing herself as a Tupperware leader, pushing herself now as a grandma, as a mother, as a what, like, okay? Because what happens is when you stop learning, you don't simply stay where you are. The thing is, the world keeps moving, and the last thing we want, I know for me and probably for you too, Melanie, we don't want our kids, for them to be a chore to come and see us or call us. We want them to want to be with us because we have energy, we have passion, we have excitement. So being around us is actually filling their cup. Like, I'm going to tell you, Melanie, like you, there's a lot of things that my kids say to me. Oh, that's good, Mom. I need to take note of that. I wouldn't be that person if I wasn't intentional about my personal development program. Who can I become? How can I be better? So the world keeps moving, and eventually it's going to leave you behind. I've been in the same profession now for 43 years, and somebody could look at me and say, my God, Marie, after 43 years, what could you possibly still learn? Oh my God, people, look at me. Everything. Think about it. When I started this business, there was no social media, there was no reels, there was no Facebook Live, there was no TikTok. Actually, the TikTok is only this year, just by the way, okay? There was no GPT chat, there was no algorithms I needed to understand. There weren't anything, like nothing digital was out there. The world I built my business in doesn't exist anymore. Like, you have to understand, I am not the same person I was when I started this business or even prior to COVID. Like, as I was preparing this, I'm saying, my God, my God. And the only reason I've survived and kept growing is because I kept learning. And I want to tell you something very important. There are things today that I am absolutely a beginner at, like, absolutely. And I'm perfectly comfortable by saying, I don't know that. Can somebody explain it to me? I don't get it. Or I just said to Jean-Philippe, I don't know, but we've got to try something new. I don't know if it's going to work, but we got to try something new. So teach me, show me, explain it. I don't understand. Somebody said to me yesterday, she goes, I love to see how you're always checking in with your ego, making sure your ego is never taking the best part of you. So you have to be very careful, because sometimes success or different positions I might hold may grow my ego to a point where I don't think you can teach me anything. No, no, no. The more I learn, the more I realize how little I know. I don't remember who said that, where I read it, but I love that sentence. So I'd rather look stupid for 5 minutes asking a question than remaining totally ignorant for the next 5 years pretending that I already know. And I think experience can become one of our greatest gifts in life, or one of our greatest danger in life, because experience becomes wisdom when you keep learning. Experience becomes arrogance when you believe there's nothing left to learn. And that brings me to the image I want you to remember today. Imagine a cup. I have a beautiful cup in my hands, and you come along with fresh water, but my cup is already filled right to the top. You start pouring. What happens? Everything spills over onto the table, onto the floor. Nothing gets into my cup. That's exactly what happens to us when we walk into a training saying, I already know this. Melanie, Marie-Pierre, how many people do that? I already know this. I've heard this before. I know this. I've learned this back then. I've been doing this for 20 years. That's nothing new. Your cup is full. And the tragedy is, you may be surrounded by knowledge and incapable of receiving any of it because you keep saying, I know that. So it's what we think we already know, our biggest danger. And this is where I want to introduce you to something fascinating. And I can't believe it. I'm bringing this back out. I love it. Okay. So there are essentially 4 levels of knowledge we can think about. Number 1, you don't know, and you don't know. That's actually a wonderful place to be. Maria, I don't know how to make a reel. Great. I'm going to tell you. Now we can learn. I don't understand finances. Great. Let's find someone who does. Awareness opens the door to education. 2, you don't know, and you don't know that you don't know. Let me repeat that. You don't know, and you don't know you don't know. The other one is you don't know, and you don't know. Good. Don't get confused. This is Socrates, by the way. Oh, this one is a very, very dangerous one. Why? Because you can't ask a question about something you don't even realize you're missing. That's why we need coaches, mentors, books, podcasts, training, feedback, people who are further down the road. They expose us to things we didn't even know existed. Okay, number 3, Socrates says, you know, but you don't realize how much you actually know. That was Melanie Miller when she arrived in sales in the Tupperware industry with a doctorate's degree in pharmaceutical. Like, wow. But she knew a lot. She just didn't realize it could all be superimposed into what she was doing. So you've practiced something so many times. That's the other thing that might happen, that it becomes natural. Someone asked me, Maria, how do you know that? And sometimes you think, well, I don't. I just do it. No. There's been knowledge acquired underneath everything you're doing, and you're going to get these aha moments. So years of repetition have made it almost automatically, and sometimes someone else has to help us recognize the knowledge we've already accumulated. And when I started working with you, Melanie, that was the thing. Like, you're such an incredible woman. I saw that the very first day you walked in here. Now the question was to bring it out. And today, if we're growing the English community, girlfriend, it's thanks to you, right? And 4, you know, and you know that you know. So you understand it, you can explain it, you can demonstrate it, you can teach it. And that's when knowledge becomes incredibly valuable. But here's the danger. The moment I arrive there and say, good, I know everything now, my cup becomes full again, and I stop growing. This is why I love the wisdom of Socrates. The deepest wisdom isn't pretending to know everything. It's recognizing the limits of what you know. So if I want to make more money, if I want more real estate, if I want to pay less tax, I mean, I could go on and on and on. Okay. We have to understand that there's more to learn. The smartest person in the room doesn't necessarily have the most answers. Sometimes it's the person asking the best question, because you can listen to every podcast. You can read every book. You can attend every training. You can underline every sentence. I have to see what my books look like. You can fill notebooks. You can know Napoleon Hill backwards, forwards, and still accomplish absolutely nothing. I think that's my favorite sentence, okay? Because information isn't transformation. Knowledge sitting in your notebook doesn't change your life. Knowledge sitting in your head doesn't change your life. Applied knowledge changes your life. So learn it. You want to take down something? These 3. Learn it, apply it, teach it. Learn it, apply it, teach it. Learn it, apply it, teach it. Ha! And the transformational word as of today for all of us is going to be yet. Okay? You want to write something else down? Yet. I don't know how to do that yet. I'm not good at technology yet. I don't understand finances yet. I'm not good on camera yet. That tiny word changes everything, because I don't know sounds like an identity. Okay. I don't know yet sounds like a temporary condition. So what does my next level require? require me to learn. Now, there is an incredible science behind this, and that's where I'm going to leave you in the hands of Melanie Miller. I love this podcast. Melanie.
Me too.
Ah,
Thank you, Maria. So, Maria's introduced for us another reason why people might fail, and that is it's called by Hill insufficient education. And as Maria explained, it's a little bit more than that. Because when we hear the word education, our minds naturally go to school, university, degrees, qualifications. I have a doctorate in pharmaceutical sciences. When I joined Tupperware, however, I very quickly discovered that absolutely none of my university education taught me how to run a Tupperware business. I had to learn different skills: how to sell, how to recruit, how to demonstrate products, how to build relationships with customers. Eventually, how to lead and develop other people. That certainly does not mean that my previous education was wasted. Far from it. During my PhD, I learned how to research, how to analyze information, how to organize processes, and perhaps most importantly, how to keep experimenting when something did not work the first time. I've applied many of those skills throughout my Tupperware career, and this raises an important point. Education is only valuable when we can do something with what we have learned. Knowing something and being able to apply it are two very different things. Modern neuroscience gives us a fascinating explanation of why. We have talked before about neuroplasticity. This is the brain's remarkable ability to change its connections and organization in response to learning and experience. For many years, people believed that the adult brain became relatively fixed. We now know that learning can continue throughout life. When we learn a new skill, groups of neurons begin working together in new ways. Repeated practice strengthens and refines the networks involved in performing that skill. This means that our ability today does not predetermine our permanent ability. That is incredibly important. Someone might say, I'm no good at selling. I'm terrible with technology. I can't speak in front of people. That may accurately describe their present ability. It does not necessarily describe their future ability. A more accurate statement might be, I haven't learned how to do that yet. Provided we are willing to learn and practice, the brain has an extraordinary capacity to adapt. Think about learning to drive. Driving is a wonderful example. Think back to your very first driving lesson. There seemed to be an impossible number of things to remember. Check the mirrors, indicate, watch the road, control the speed, steer, brake, perhaps change gears and operate a clutch at the same time. Initially, every action required conscious attention. Your brain was working incredibly hard. Eventually, however, something changed. Through repetition, those skills became increasingly automatic. Today, most experienced drivers can perform many of those actions without consciously thinking through every individual step. The car did not become easier to drive. Your brain became better at driving it. That is learning. This also helps us to understand why struggling with something new is not necessarily a bad thing. We sometimes interpret struggle as evidence that we cannot do something. Very often, struggle is evidence that the brain is learning something. When something is new, it requires attention and effort. We make mistakes. We retrieve the information. We try again. We correct ourselves. Each repetition helps strengthen and refine the pathways involved. Of course, repetition alone is not enough. If we repeatedly practice something incorrectly, we can become very good at doing it incorrectly. See the bad drivers out there? We need feedback, correction, and repetition. Perhaps the learning process is try it, check it, correct it, repeat it. Eventually, what once felt extremely difficult becomes much more natural. We need feedback, correction, and repetition. Perhaps that will continue to help us learn. There is another psychological trap that I find particularly interesting. It is sometimes described as an illusion of knowing. We hear something and we immediately think, yeah, I know that. Perhaps we've attended the training. Perhaps we've read the book. Perhaps somebody has explained the technique to us 5 times. We recognize the information, so our brain gives us the feeling that we know it. The important question, however, is can we retrieve it and use it when we need it? There is an enormous difference between recognizing information and mastering a skill. I can watch somebody demonstrate a wonderful recruiting conversation and understand every word they say. That does not mean I could conduct the conversation effectively myself. I must practice it. I must retrieve the information from my own memory. I must apply it in a real situation. I must discover what works and what does not. That is when knowledge begins to become a competence. Learn, retrieve, apply, repeat. Perhaps we can reduce the whole science of education to those 4 stages. Learn, retrieve, apply, repeat. First, we acquire the information, then we practice retrieving it without constantly relying on our notes or somebody helping us to remind us. Next, we apply it to a genuine situation. Finally, we repeat it enough times for the skill to become increasingly efficient and automatic. This is why training without application has a limited value. You can attend every training Tupperware offers. You can read every book. You can listen to every podcast. If nothing changes in what you do, the information has not yet produced its full value. Perhaps this is where Hill's idea of insufficient education becomes particularly relevant today. Education should not be something that finishes when we leave school. Our world changes too quickly. Technology changes, customers change, businesses change, the way we communicate changes. 20 years ago, I certainly did not know how to make a reel, conduct a Zoom meeting, or use artificial intelligence in my business. Today, those skills can be enormously useful. The person who continues to learn can continue to adapt. Perhaps insufficient information is not about how many qualifications we have hanging on the wall. It is about whether we possess the knowledge and skills required for where to go next. My doctorate did not qualify me to run a Tupperware business. My willingness to continue learning, however, allowed me to acquire the skills I needed. At the same time, I was able to bring useful skills from my previous education into a completely different environment. That is the wonderful thing about education. Very little genuine learning is ever wasted if we discover how to apply it. Our current ability does not have to determine our future ability. The brain continues to learn. The brain continues to adapt. We simply must keep giving it something worthwhile to learn. Learn it, retrieve it, apply it, repeat it. Perhaps that is the difference between merely knowing more and continually becoming more. And with that, I'll leave you in the hands of Marie Pierre, who I'm sure is going to help us to see whether we're a continual learner. Over to you, Marie Pierre.
Thank you, Melanie. So, yes, because the question today is not if you are educated, not really, but are you still teachable? So, because there's the huge difference between being educated and being willing to keep learning. That is what we want to learn today, because there's a freedom when we say, okay, I don't know yet, and not, oh, no, I can't do that. Or I'm too old, or I'm just not good at that, or but just say I don't know yet, and who can teach me? This is really teachability. So for each question this morning, you can answer A, B, or C. So you want to choose the answer that sounds most like how you usually respond, and not how you know that you should do, and really what you are actually doing now. So let's start with question number one. So you have someone that begin teaching something that you have heard before. So do you A, mentally check out because I already know it? B, listen for one detail, perspective, or application I may have missed? Or C, I assume everything they say must be better than what I already know? Question number two. A younger person offer to teach you a new technology. So do you A, feel a little uncomfortable and prefer figure it out yourself? B, appreciate that they know something that you don't know and let them teach? Or C, immediately abandon your own judgment and follow everything they suggest? Question number three. Someone asks you to explain something you believe you understand. So, do you A, sometimes realize that I know less than I thought? B, I welcome the opportunity because explaining helped me and test my understanding? Or C, I avoid explaining because I am afraid I might be wrong? Question number four. You discovered that a belief or a method that you have used for years may be outdated. So do you A, resist changing because it has worked for you in the past? B, you examine the new information and update your thinking if the evidence is stronger? Or C, you immediately throw away everything that you previously believed? And question number five, how do you approach personal growth? A, I learn mainly when a problem forced me to. B, I deliberately keep learning when what my goals and future require. Or C, I constantly collect information but struggle to focus on what matters most. So did you get mostly A's, mostly B's, or mostly C's? So if you have it mostly A, you are the experienced defender. So you probably know a great deal. You may have years of experience. You have learned through success, failure, work, family, life. So that experience deserves respect, but sometimes experience can become a wall. So you may hear younger saying, I know yourself saying yourself, oh, you may hear yourself saying, I know, or I've already tried that. That won't work. We've always done it this way. So your next level does not require to throw away what you know, but it requires to remain curious enough to ask, what if there's something here that I don't know yet? So experience will become wisdom when it stays open. So experience become a ceiling when it stop asking questions. Now, if you have mostly B's, you are the lifelong learner. So you understand that being knowledgeable and being teachable can exist together. So you do not need to pretend that you know everything. You can ask questions, you can receive feedback, you can learn from someone younger, you can update an old belief, you can try a new tool to be a beginner again. And most importantly, you understand that learning is not complete until something changes in behavior. So you want to continue protecting your curiosity, because the more experience that you become, the more intentional you may need to be about staying teachable. So keep asking, what does my next level require me to learn now? And if you have mostly C, now you're the information collector. So you love learning. You are curious. You may read, listen, take courses, attend training, and constantly look for new idea. And that's it, a strength. But there's a danger here too. Learning can become another form of procrastination. One more book, oh, one more course, one more video, one more expert, one more piece of information. So eventually you have to stop collecting and start applying. So your next level may not require more information, them, but it may require using what you already know. So ask yourself, what do I already know that I have not yet consistently applied? So knowledge will become useful when it changes your behavior. So 3 points to remember. Number one, the yet practice. So I don't know. No, 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 no. I don't know yet. So use the yet when you want to say I don't know, so you can learn it and you can apply it. Number two, put yourself in a room where you are not the expert. So at least once a week, place yourself in an environment where someone knows more than you so you can learn from them. And number three, apply one thing before learning five more. So before opening the next book and watch the next video, what did I learn last time that I still haven't used? So apply one thing before learning a lot. So for the next week, just deliberately learn one small thing every day, but make sure that you apply it and not just learn it. So on that, I wish you a beautiful day and we'll see you tomorrow morning. Bye. Oh, Maria.
Wait, wait, wait. Everybody together, bombard her messenger. Happy
Happy
birthday!
birthday!
36 years young. Woohoo! Bravo.